I stood frozen as champagne dripped down my Chanel gown, while Marcus's friends circled me like vultures, their laughter echoing through the ballroom. They called me trailer trash, said I was only there because I was sleeping my way up. Marcus didn't defend me. He laughed the loudest. What none of them knew, I owned every single brick in that building, and before sunrise, their entire world would crumble. But before I tell you how I destroyed them, I need your honest opinion. If someone humiliated you like this, knowing you had the power to ruin their life, would you do it? Would you show mercy or make them pay? Drop your answer in the comments right now because this gets dark, and I want to know where you stand. Hit that subscribe button because what happens next is absolutely insane, and you won't believe how far I took this. My name is Elena Blackwood, and my family controls $52 billion in assets. My grandfather, Richard Blackwood, started with one shipping container and built a global empire. Logistics, shipping, manufacturing, private equity. If it moves money, we probably touch it. But money like that? It makes you a target, not a person. I learned that lesson at 8 years old when my mother was killed. Not an accident, not random, calculated. Someone wanted leverage over my father and thought murdering his wife would break him. It didn't break him. It turned him into something colder, harder. And me? I grew up surrounded by armed security, living behind iron gates, never knowing if someone smiled at me because they liked me or because they wanted access to my family's fortune. Every birthday party was investigated. Every friend was vetted. Every relationship felt like a business transaction. By the time I turned 23, I was suffocating. I told my father I needed to disappear. Just for 1 year. I wanted to live as someone ordinary, someone nobody wanted anything from. Someone who could be loved for who they were, not what they had. He fought me on it, said it was dangerous, reckless, stupid. But eventually he agreed. 1 year, that's all I got. I became Eleanor Brooks. I rented a cramped studio apartment where the radiator clanked all night and the guy next door played video games until 3 a.m. I got a job at an art gallery called the Atrium. Minimum wage. My manager yelled at me for being 2 minutes late. My feet ached every single day, and I loved every second of it. For the first time in my life, people saw me as just another girl trying to pay rent. That's when Marcus Sterling walked into my life. It was a Thursday evening. The gallery was quiet except for me and my co-worker David. The door chimed, and in walked this man in a $10,000 suit, Rolex catching the light, looking irritated that he had to be there. He didn't ask for help. He snapped his fingers. Actually snapped them at David like he was summoning a servant. I need the Rothko piece in the back catalogue. Have it packaged and delivered to my penthouse by tomorrow morning. David's face flushed, but he stayed polite. I'll check if we have access to that piece, sir. We're a smaller gallery, so Marcus cut him off. I don't care about your limitations. Make it happen, or I'll speak to whoever owns this place and have you replaced. Something hot and angry flared in my chest, but I swallowed it. I smiled sweetly and stepped forward. Sir, I can reach out to some partner galleries and see what's available. If you leave your contact information, I'll personally follow up. He looked at me then. Really looked, and I saw it. Interest, calculation. Like he'd just decided I was worth his time. Fine. He handed me a sleek black business card. Marcus Sterling, CEO, Sterling Global Investments. Call me tomorrow. He left without saying thank you. 2 days later, he came back. This time, he was different. Charming. Smooth. Asked my name. Complimented my eyes. Made small talk about art he probably didn't understand. It felt rehearsed, like he'd decided I was worthy of his attention now. A week after that, I ran into him at a wine bar. Too convenient to be coincidence. He sat down across from me without asking. Elena from the gallery, right? He said it like I should be flattered he remembered. That's me. You know, you're actually stunning. He stirred his Manhattan lazily. Like really beautiful for someone working retail. I felt my jaw tighten, but I kept smiling. That's kind of you to say. He leaned back, radiating confidence. Listen, there's this charity event next Saturday. The Azure Foundation Gala. Very exclusive, very high society. I think you'd get a kick out of seeing how real wealth lives. He paused, clearly proud of himself. What do you say? I'll show you a world you'd never experience on your own. Every word out of his mouth made me want to walk away, but instead I tilted my head and said, Sure, sounds interesting, perfect. He grinned like he'd just closed a deal. I'll pick you up at 8. Wear something elegant. Don't stress if you don't own anything upscale. You'll blend in fine. As he walked away, I sat there thinking about what I'd just agreed to. The Azure Foundation Gala, held at the Blackwood Grand Lux Hotel. My family's crown jewel. The hotel where I'd spent summers running through marble hallways while my father made billion-dollar decisions. Marcus had no idea what he'd just walked into, and I was going to enjoy watching him realize it. Saturday arrived faster than I expected. I spent the afternoon preparing, selecting a midnight blue silk gown that was understated but flawless. It was custom Ely Saab, cost more than most people make in 6 months, but it didn't announce wealth. It suggested it, exactly what I wanted. Marcus picked me up in his Aston Martin, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Damn, you actually look incredible." Wasn't sure you could pull off this kind of event. I smiled tightly. Thanks. As we drove downtown, he kept making little comments. Your neighborhood is pretty sketchy, huh? Don't worry. After tonight, you'll see what real success looks like. Maybe it'll motivate you to aim higher. You must be so excited. I doubt you've ever been somewhere this exclusive. I just nodded, watching the city lights streak past. Inside, I was counting down the minutes until this man got exactly what he deserved. When we arrived at the Blackwood Grand Lux Hotel, I felt a strange rush of nostalgia mixed with cold fury. The building was magnificent. Towering glass and steel, waterfalls cascading down the entrance, violinists playing under crystal archways. Photographers lined the red carpet, cameras flashing as guests arrived. Marcus soaked it up, waving like he was a celebrity. Inside, the ballroom took my breath away. Even though I'd seen it 100 times, it never stopped being beautiful. Massive chandeliers hung like frozen constellations. Tables draped in ivory silk, centerpieces exploding with white peonies and gardenias. A live orchestra played softly. It was the kind of beauty that made the world outside disappear. But the people inside reminded you how cruel that world could be. Marcus immediately started parading me around like a trophy. This is Elena, he'd say to his circle of elitist friends, that condescending smirk never leaving his face. She works at an art gallery. I thought I'd give her a taste of the finer things. His friends smiled, but their eyes told the truth. They were measuring me, calculating my worth based on my dress, my shoes, my lack of designer jewelry. I was being judged and dismissed. Then I saw her, Vanessa Whitmore, Marcus's ex-girlfriend, and from everything I'd read in society columns, an absolute monster. She was tall, blonde, dripping in emeralds, walking toward us with the kind of confidence that comes from never facing consequences. Marcus, darling. She kissed him on both cheeks. Then her gaze landed on me. And who is this? This is Elena, my date. Vanessa's smile could cut diamonds. How delightful. Tell me, Elena, what is it you do? I work at an art gallery. An art gallery? She said it like I'd confessed to a crime. How adorable. Marcus, is this your latest charity case? Are you bringing working-class girls to events now? People nearby laughed. Marcus chuckled too, though he tried to hide it. Vanessa, behave. I am behaving. Her eyes never left mine. I think it's wonderful Marcus is giving back, bringing underprivileged women to galas. It's very noble of you, Marcus. I felt rage building hot and sharp in my chest, but I kept my expression calm. Neutral even. It's a beautiful event, I said simply. Vanessa studied me like I was an insect. Let me get you something to drink. She picked up a glass of champagne from a passing server and stepped toward me. Then, in what looked like slow motion, she stumbled, and the entire glass of champagne splashed across my dress. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I looked down at the champagne soaking into the midnight blue silk. Vanessa's hand flew to her mouth in exaggerated shock. Oh my God, I'm so clumsy. She didn't sound sorry at all. Don't worry though, that dress probably wasn't expensive. What was it, $100? I'll Venmo you right now. The group around us was barely containing their laughter. Marcus looked uncomfortable but said nothing to defend me. He just handed me a cocktail napkin and whispered, "It's okay. Just ignore her. You're doing great considering you're not used to this world." I took the napkin slowly, looked at Vanessa, and smiled. Not a warm smile, the kind of smile that should have been a warning. "Thank you," I said quietly. "I'll be fine." Dinner was unbearable. We sat at Marcus's VIP table surrounded by his elite inner circle. Vanessa made sure to sit directly across from me, her eyes locked on me like a predator. Every few minutes, another comment. "So Elena, what does an art gallery employee make these days? Minimum wage? Elena, do you even know what charity we're supporting tonight? It's for youth literacy programs. Perhaps they could help people like you. Marcus, does your date know which fork to use? Should someone give her a quick tutorial?" The worst part wasn't Vanessa. It was Marcus. He just sat there letting it happen. Sometimes he laughed, sometimes he piled on. "Oh, she's learning," he'd say. It's kind of endearing, honestly. At one point, someone asked me about my hobbies. Before I could answer, Marcus cut in. "She looks at paintings all day. Pretty simple life, you know." The table erupted in laughter. At me, not with me. I excused myself to the restroom. I needed a moment to breathe, to remind myself why I was enduring this humiliation. As I stood at the marble sink, staring at my reflection and the champagne stain on my gown, the door swung open. Vanessa walked in, and this time, there was no pretense. Let me be crystal clear. Her voice dropped to something icy and venomous. "Girls like you disgust me. You think fluttering your eyelashes at Marcus is going to change your sad little life? It won't. He's using you." She pulled out her phone, scrolling through photos. Pictures of Marcus with other women. Different faces, same story. Pretty ordinary girls in situations just like this. "He does this every couple of months," Vanessa continued. "Finds some desperate girl, brings her to events like this so he can feel powerful, then discards her when he's bored. You're not special. You're just this season's entertainment." She stepped closer, actually shoving me lightly against the counter. "Know your place, gallery girl. You don't belong here. You never will." I stayed completely silent, just looked at her with the cold, calculating eyes I'd inherited from my father. The ones that made board members nervous. "What, nothing to say?" Vanessa laughed. "That's what I thought. You're nobody." She walked out, leaving me alone. I took a slow breath, then another. And then I smiled. A real smile this time. It was almost showtime. Back in the ballroom, the charity auction was in full swing. A polished auctioneer in a tuxedo stood on stage, presenting items one by one. A private jet weekend, courtside NBA tickets, a Mediterranean yacht vacation. Wealthy guests raised their paddles casually, bidding tens of thousands like it was nothing. Marcus was in heaven. He bid on everything. constantly glancing at me to see if I was impressed. Vanessa bid against him on several items, turning it into a testosterone-fueled competition. Then the auctioneer announced the final item, and the room fell silent. Ladies and gentlemen, our closing item tonight is truly once in a lifetime. A private executive dinner with Richard Blackwood, one of the most powerful business minds on the planet. Mr. Blackwood rarely appears publicly, making this an extraordinarily exclusive opportunity. We'll open bidding at $150,000. I watched Marcus's eyes light up like Christmas morning. Richard Blackwood, my grandfather, the man he'd probably spent his entire career trying to meet. $300,000, Marcus called out confidently. $500,000, Vanessa shot back immediately. They went back and forth, egos colliding. $600,000, $750,000, $900,000. The crowd was mesmerized watching these two destroy each other. 1 million, Marcus declared, looking triumphant. He smirked at Vanessa. She glared but didn't raise her paddle. The auctioneer smiled. $1 million going once, going twice. I raised my paddle. My voice was calm, clear, and sliced through the room like a blade. $7 million. The room went dead silent. You could have heard a heartbeat. Every single head whipped around to stare at me. Marcus's face drained of color. Elena, what the hell are you doing? You don't have... The auctioneer looked confused. Miss Brooks, correct. I'll need verification that you have the funds too. I reached into my clutch and pulled out a card. Not just any card. The kind with no spending limit. The kind maybe 50 people on Earth carry. I walked calmly to the front and handed it to him. Run it, I said simply. He swiped the card, waited, and his eyes went wide as the screen lit up. Transaction approved. The room exploded into shocked whispers. Vanessa looked like she'd seen a ghost. Marcus just sat there, mouth hanging open, paralyzed. This is ridiculous, Vanessa suddenly screamed, standing up. She stole that card. She's a con artist. Someone call security immediately. Right on cue, hotel security started moving toward me. But before they reached me, the hotel director came rushing over, his face sheet white. He looked at me and I saw the exact moment recognition hit him. Stand down, he hissed at security. Stand down immediately. What's happening? Marcus demanded, standing up. Who is she? The director was sweating. Mr. Sterling, I believe there's been a significant misunderstanding. The ballroom doors opened. My grandfather walked in, flanked by 6 security personnel. Richard Blackwood. 78 years old, perfectly tailored 3-piece suit, commanding the attention of every single person in that room. People literally stood. Some bowed. That's the power he wielded. He walked straight toward me, ignoring everyone else, and smiled warmly, genuinely, and kissed my forehead. Sweetheart, he said loud enough for the entire room to hear. You didn't mention you'd be attending tonight. I would have rearranged my entire schedule. The room detonated. Whispers turned into frantic conversations. People were grabbing their phones, frantically Googling. I could see the moment it clicked for everyone. Marcus looked like he was having a heart attack. My grandfather turned to face the crowd, his arms still around my shoulders. He looked at Marcus, and his warm smile turned glacial. Mr. Sterling, he said, his voice polite, but carrying an edge that made billionaires nervous. I've been hearing about your firm. We should have a conversation soon about your business ethics. The threat was unmistakable. Marcus stammered. Mr. Blackwood, I had absolutely no idea. I didn't. Then my grandfather's eyes landed on Vanessa. And you must be Vanessa Whitmore. His smile was a weapon. Your family's investment fund owes my firm $350 million. Payment is significantly overdue. We'll need to discuss that immediately. Vanessa looked like she might collapse. All color vanished from her face. My grandfather addressed the entire room now, his voice carrying that natural authority that made people obey. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to properly introduce my granddaughter, Elena Blackwood. She's been conducting a social experiment, observing how people behave when they believe no one important is watching. He paused, letting that statement sink in. Her judgment of character is impeccable. Then he stepped back, gesturing for me to take the microphone. This was my moment. The moment I'd been waiting for all night. I walked onto the stage, champagne-stained dress and all. The room was dead silent. "Good evening, everyone," I began, my voice steady and unwavering. "I want to thank you for tonight. You've shown me exactly who you are when you think it doesn't matter." I looked directly at Vanessa. "Vanessa, thank you for the champagne on my dress. This cheap dress you mocked? It's custom Ely Saab. It cost $63,000, but that's irrelevant. What matters is, you thought it was acceptable to humiliate someone because you assumed they were beneath you." Vanessa opened her mouth, but no sound came out. I turned to Marcus. "And Marcus, thank you for this enlightening evening. You wanted to bring a simple girl to a gala to show off your generosity, to feel superior by elevating someone you believed was beneath you. Let me tell you who I really am." I paused, letting the tension build to a breaking point. "My family owns this hotel and 18 others across 3 continents. We control 35% of the commercial real estate in this city. Marcus, your company, Sterling Global Investments, you lease your headquarters from Blackwood Properties. You've been paying us rent for 4 years." Marcus's legs buckled. He grabbed the table to keep from falling. "And Vanessa?" I continued, my voice turning to ice. "Since your family owes us $350 million and clearly can't manage their behavior, consider yourselves permanently banned from every property we own. Security will escort you out now." 4 security guards appeared at Vanessa's sides. She started screaming, causing a massive scene, but they physically lifted her and carried her towards the exit. Her screams echoed through the ballroom until the doors slammed shut. I looked back at the sea of stunned faces, hundreds of people staring at me in shock, terror, and awe. "I came here tonight to test a theory," I said. "I wanted to see if wealth corrupted people or simply revealed who they always were. Most of you failed spectacularly. You treated me like I was worthless when you thought I was nobody, but you'd worship me if I'd introduced myself as Elena Blackwood from the beginning. I let that hang in the air. That tells me everything I need to know about you. Not about me. About you." I set the microphone down and walked off the stage. My grandfather was waiting, pride shining in his eyes. But Marcus was there too, scrambling toward me desperately. "Elena, please." He grabbed my arm. "I didn't know. If I'd known who you were..." I yanked my arm away. Security immediately stepped between us. "Don't touch her," my grandfather warned, his voice deadly quiet. "That's exactly the problem, Marcus," I said, looking him straight in the eyes. "You didn't know who I was, so you thought it was fine to treat me like garbage. You don't respect people. You respect portfolios. There's a massive difference." "I'm sorry," he begged, actually begged. "I made a terrible mistake. Please let me fix this. We can start fresh. I'll be better." I almost laughed. Start fresh. "Marcus, here's what happens now. Tomorrow morning you'll receive official notice that your lease is terminated. You have 60 days to vacate. My family is also withdrawing our investment from Sterling Global. That's $85 million you'll need to replace." His face went from white to grey to green. "You're destroying everything I've built. My entire company." "No," I cut him off sharply. "I'm not destroying anything. I'm simply removing my family's support. If your business can't survive without us, that's not my problem. That's yours. And Mr. Sterling," my grandfather added, stepping closer, "if you ever disrespect my granddaughter again, or any woman for that matter, you'll discover that every door in this industry closes to you. Every investor, every bank, every business partner. I'll personally ensure it. Are we clear?" Marcus nodded weakly, tears actually forming in his eyes. He dropped to his knees right there in the center of the ballroom. "Please, I'm begging you both." But I was already walking away. My grandfather and I left through a private exit, leaving Marcus on his knees, his perfect image shattered beyond repair. Outside, I could still hear Vanessa screaming at security, her father already on his phone yelling at her for destroying the family reputation. In the car, my grandfather looked at me with something like concern. "Did I cross a line?" I asked quietly. He was quiet for a long moment, then shook his head. "You showed restraint. If it were my decision, I would have annihilated him completely. Legally, financially, socially. You gave him a chance to rebuild." I looked out the window at the glittering city passing by. Maybe some people learn from their mistakes. Maybe. My grandfather agreed. But most people only respect what they fear. I thought about that. About Marcus's face when he realized who I was. About Vanessa being dragged out screaming. About all those people who'd go home and tell stories about the girl who destroyed a billionaire in one evening. "I don't want to be feared," I said finally, "but I refuse to be disrespected." My grandfather smiled. "That's my girl." We drove in comfortable silence. Then he asked, "So what now? Are you finished with your experiment? Ready to join the family business officially?" I considered it. The past year living as Elena Brooks had taught me so much about human nature, about myself, about what truly mattered. But tonight showed me something else. I couldn't hide forever, and maybe I didn't want to anymore. "I'm done hiding," I said. "The world will know exactly who I am. And if they can't handle a woman with power..." I smiled. "That's their problem, not mine." My grandfather laughed, genuinely laughed. "Elena Blackwood, everyone." Just like her old man. As we pulled up to my apartment, the one I'd be leaving soon, I felt something fundamental shift inside me. I wasn't the same person who started this experiment a year ago. I'd learned that kindness without strength is just weakness, that power without compassion is just cruelty, and that the real measure of someone isn't how they treat their equals, but how they treat people they think are beneath them. Marcus and Vanessa failed that test catastrophically, but I passed my own test. I stood up for myself. I protected my dignity, and I did it without losing who I was at my core. Tomorrow, the news would explode everywhere. Social media would detonate. Marcus's company would implode. Vanessa's family would spiral into crisis mode. And me, I'd wake up, have my coffee, and begin the next chapter of my life as myself. Fully myself. But tonight, I'd sleep perfectly, knowing that sometimes the quiet ones are the most dangerous, and underestimating someone is the fastest way to lose absolutely everything. So that's my story. The night I stopped pretending and showed the world exactly who I am. Some people think I went too far. Others think Marcus and Vanessa got exactly what they deserved. What do you think? Was my revenge too brutal, or was it perfect justice? Drop your brutally honest opinion in the comments right now, because I genuinely want to hear your perspective on this. If this story had you absolutely hooked, do me a favor and smash that like button immediately. Subscribe if you haven't already, because trust me, I have more stories that will completely blow your mind. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a single upload. And remember something important. Never underestimate the quiet ones. You never know who they really are or what they're capable of doing. The person pouring your coffee might own the building you're standing in. The woman in the simple dress might be wearing something worth more than your house. And the person you just disrespected, they might be the one who controls your entire future. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and trust me, the next story is even more insane. You absolutely don't want to miss it. Like and subscribe for more.